Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The newest Air Force squadron does all of its work on the ground in one place. The Air Force recently activated the 316th Inpatient Operations Squadron at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. Joining me with what this is all about, what the squadron does, Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Aaron Barger. Sergeant Barger, good to have you with us.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And Walter Reed, of course, is a joint effort. You know, there's Army, Navy, Air Force there. Tell us about this new squadron. What does it do and how did it form?
Well, first of all, we had a presence here for quite a long time before we formalized this squadron. We've been here with training agreements for the past 10 years or so, but that gets a little bit cumbersome to continuously monitor, upgrade that. So we activated the squadron to formalize that presence here and makes it an ongoing presence for the future operations and trying to get after the next generation fight.
And what do the members actually do? As inpatient operations could be a million things.
True. So our presence here is primarily within the critical care units, specifically in the adult ICUs. We make up approximately 1/3 of the presence here in the ICUs. And we have also absorbed the Air Force members who are assigned under the graduate medical education program, so the residency programs that people do as part of their postgraduate stuff. So they're embedded in 24 different programs: pediatrics, obstetrics, neuro, several different programs, and we're happy to help them on their education path.
So you have different echelons of medicine then, doctors, nurses, and so forth as part of the squadron?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And you have a nursing background, correct?
So I am a aerospace medical technician, which can go into either nursing or into EMT care. So I'm an EMT by trade, and I also have a lot of flavor of what an LPN would be doing, is what I've experienced in my past. So.
And in day-to-day operations, I mean, how does it work? There are members of the different armed services are in there for care, and then there are members of the different armed forces giving care. It's not like Air Force people only take care of Air Force people, et cetera. Fair to say?
Oh, that's correct. That is absolutely fair to say. We embed for both the leadership aspects of making sure staff are educated on their various paths, regardless of what service branch they're in. And we make no distinction between different service branches when you're talking about a patient. So the care that Walter Reed provides includes all service branches, and we also have the executive branch of medicine, and a lot of members of Congress come through for care at Walter Reed. So it's pretty diverse in terms of who we take care of.
Right. And what is there any kind of characterization as the mode of people that are there? Is it mostly uniformed service members active duty, or is it more mixed than that?
It ebbs and flows based on the mission demands, of course. So when we're at war, you can imagine the majority of our patients are wartime casualties that come back for treatment and care here. As they're, knock on wood, we're not at a significant conflict right now. The majority of the patients that we see day to day are either retirees or the people who are local to the area here, to the other bases that are assigned to the NCR.
We were speaking with Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Aaron Barger. She's the senior enlisted leader of the 316th Inpatient Operations Squadron. And what is your day-to-day life like? In other words, you're not in there, with patients giving care, correct? Or do you oversee the people that do that? Or what do you do all day?
What do I do all day? That's a good question. I'm just kidding. So I'm primarily in an administrative role at this point. My key responsibilities are to advise the commander on any matters pertaining to the staff, train, equip, and discipline of the force that we have, of the 136 airmen in this case. I also serve as an advisor to the other senior enlisted on this organization so that we make sure the operations of the facility flow smoothly.
And if there's 136 airmen at Walter Reed, that's a tiny minority of the staff that's there.
That's correct. Captain Austin, the director of Walter Reed, said it best, I think, that we are a small but mighty footprint within the organization to help those key missions.
And do you get the respect you deserve? They don't walk by and say, "Oh, one of the Air Force."
I am part of the family here, and I feel it every day. We are certainly one team, and they frequently reach out just to make sure that we're doing okay, and ask advice on how we can better integrate and stuff like that. So I feel very welcome here, and it's a blessing to be assigned to Walter Reed.
And presidents go there, for their annual physicals. And during the Trump administration, President Trump was there for a significant period because of COVID. And it's not often that presidents go for more than the daily, the one-day yearly checkup. But what happens? What's it like there when that occasion occurs?
Well, obviously, I don't want to violate the president's, personal health information and stuff when we're
I just meant the
this,
surrounding offices and parking and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I gotcha. So we do put some stuff in place to make sure that the president is obviously protected. So it adjusts the traffic flow to make sure that there's a clear path and that there's not a possibility of, active shooter situations or any other things like that. So we rely on the base partners for that. But honestly, it doesn't really disrupt the flow. You have to send patients down a different hallway from time to time, but
Sure.
Whatever patient we get here is a patient first before they're the president.
Well, those of us
And
that ride
everything
up
else goes the same way.
those of us that ride up and down Rockville Pike hope the president goes by helicopter, because the real disruption would be there on the Route 355 outside the front gate. And
That's a fair statement, sir.
getting back to the 316th, I guess those of us who have been in Washington a long time, oh no, a motorcade. Your people are all over the facility, and it's a vast facility. How do you have any means of making the squadron feel like a squadron when everyone's doing a different job on different shifts and different locations throughout the week?
So I think you'd probably have to talk to one of my junior airmen to see how they feel about, whether or not they feel like they're part of a squadron yet. But I'll tell you, when we did our first commander's call after the activation, and even during the ceremony itself, everyone was so excited that we will have a command team here, so they don't have to drive down to Andrews for absolutely everything that you'd need a commander's action on. And the knowing that there's somebody across the campus versus across the NCR, like you said, traffic on the 495 to get down there is insane almost every time. So I think our people are excited. At least I hope they are.
Right. So, in other words, it's almost a customer experience improvement for the Air Force members there in terms of just getting things done administratively or whatever for their careers.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And having somebody here that can help with the life issues as they come up is exponentially helpful. So.
And by the way, you have a personal interest in ensuring great health care for the patients that you help, and also great training for the people that administer the help.
Absolutely. So amongst many things in my career and my time flying air missions and that sort of thing and taking care of people, everyone knew what Walter Reed was, but I personally know a lot about it. So my husband actually was treated at the old Walter Reed before they moved up to this campus, and had significant injuries, and I believe that it's our efforts and the efforts of those in the past that saved his life. He wouldn't be with me today at all if it wasn't for Walter Reed. So it engenders in me a passion to make sure that my airmen and my soldiers, my sailors that I've influenced have the ability to take care of those folks in the next generation fight. We can't do our mission without something like Walter Reed in the background to support.
Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Aaron Barger is the senior enlisted leader of the newly formed 316th Inpatient Operations Squadron at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure to participate today, and thanks for getting our word out there.
And we'll post this interview along with a link to more information at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Hear the Federal Drive on demand. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.